How we doing out there, everybody? We are here at our 11th week of the term, so 5 weeks left. Really 4 weeks left because not next week, but the week after that is your spring break. So of course we won't have anything due that week. The week beginning the 3rd and lasting through the 7th. So where are we now? So this week we want to finish up our novella. So we want to read part 3 of Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis. And I know we've been taking things like a half of a part per week, but as I've been encouraging you guys over the last couple weeks to read ahead. So if you have been reading ahead, this full part of part 3 shouldn't catch you too much by surprise. So you want to finish part 3, and we have discussion questions to go along with them, just like we did a couple weeks ago. It's the same format, it's the same style. Same set of instructions. Of course, this has to do with the plot elements transpiring in part 3, but it's not a reader response where we have a rubric and where you have to answer in that kind of essay style. So there are 9 questions. You just have to answer giving a couple sentences apiece. And I think on a few of them, I ask you to provide textual evidence and in-text citations. Just follow the instructions in the Word document that's attached, and you'll be all right. Other than that, there is a blog, a voluntary blog post, which will be due Friday. The discussion questions are due Sunday. The blog asks you to think about the end of the novella. If you want extra credit for this blog round, and you can do one of two things. You could either write a short epilogue. So an epilogue is the opposite of a prologue. Prologue is kind of the, if we take the etymology, pro, for or before, log, to speak, okay, log, logos, logic, speech. This is all Greek derived. So prologue means before the story, kind of setting up the story. And then an epilogue meaning surrounding or after the story. Okay, so what happens when the story is done? Can you imagine our main characters so many years down the line? Of course, spoiler alert, I don't know where you are in the novella. Maybe hold off on watching the video. Of course, too late now, but ears muffled. Gregor dies. Okay, you could unmuffle your ears now. So he's not a main character for whom you could write an epilogue. But what about his sister, Greta? What about the parents, Gregor's parents, the Samses? Greta's a really interesting character because she's the one whom Gregor trusts the most, especially in the beginning of the story. Then that relationship changes towards the end, and Greta kind of almost becomes Greta's story at the end. She feels this sense of freedom, no longer having to cater to her brother. So the story takes an interesting turn at the end. So where do you imagine her at the end? Or you could write an alternate ending where the ending of the story is not the true ending of the story, and you provide your own little interpretation of how the story ends. So I thought that was just a fun little way to kind of help you further engage with the story. So either write a brief little epilogue, paragraph or two, or a brief little alternative ending, a little paragraph or two, for your voluntary blog for extra credit on your final essay. So let's talk about the how. Again, I don't want to get to too many details, give you a chance to read the final part, but really see these concepts, these Kafkaesque concepts of alienation, of being punished without any rhyme or reason, of being kind of thrown into this situation that is completely senseless, bleak, no humanity to it, or maybe a lack of humanity, maybe apathy or amorality, all swirling about. It all comes to a head in the third part, where Gregor meets his final, his end, and then really focus on Greta as a character and how she has changed, and kind of how the story almost shifts focus to her. She kind of becomes, in a sense, the story's protagonist. We kind of care about her more than Gregor. At least every time I read the story, that's, you know, Greta has had a parallel metamorphosis, transformation, along with Gregor. They're kind of, you know, character type and anti-type. They're, they kind of echo each other, mirror each other in some interesting ways. So I'd be interested to know what you guys thought of it. Maybe we'll do kind of a comprehensive discussion or journal on your thoughts on the metamorphosis in general. It's something I think I started in high school. The first time I read it, I can't remember if it was high school or not. Certainly wasn't middle school. But I read it when I needed to read it, and I read it by myself at least once. And that's compelled me to read other works of Kafka, The Trial and The Hunger Artist. I think are the other two that I've read. So if you guys, if this kind of, existential surrealism, absurdism is your vibe, definitely check out some other Kafka. And there's many scholarly articles written on Kafka and his works, whole books, whole courses offered. Very fascinating author. So before we get out for our spring break, next week we'll have our third analysis essay. Your poetry analysis essays have been returned to you. Nothing really earth-shatteringly original, do I have to say. Most of them were good. I think most of us are getting A's, low to mid A's. And mostly that's from either formatting things or MLA citation with lines of poetry, or maybe not following all the parameters precisely. You have to have 3 literary devices that you discuss. Make sure you're writing in the present tense, using third-person point of view, all those things. And it needs to be at least 2 pages, and a works cited page is needed. So those are back now. So 2 out of the 3 analysis essays are done. Third one will come up next week. And then all we have left is our play, which is Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest. There is a movie that you guys, if you want to watch to kind of enhance your understanding, I believe it is Colin Firth. Let me just look it up real quick. And as I'm saying all of this stuff, it's become apparent to me that fewer and fewer of us are watching these videos, so I might just stop doing them. Yes, Colin Firth, very fine actor. 2002 movie, The Importance of Being Earnest. So maybe when we are reading the play, you guys can check out the film companion as well. All right. So I'll leave it there. Voluntary blog due Friday if you want, and then discussion questions on the last part of the metamorphosis due by Sunday. A third analysis essay will be due by the end of next week. That'll be the 2nd of April. And then it is spring break from the 3rd to the 7th. So have a good week. Talk to you again real soon.